So as Jenny said, I'm going to talk to you about the joint working group. It's half the RDA board and half made up of members from the RSC about artificial intelligence and cataloging. It became very clear that RDA had to answer what the impact of AI would be on RDA and on people who are using RDA, because it's the buzzword. It's what semantic web was 10 years ago, Web 2.0 was 20 years ago. And if we didn't have something to say about it, it would be a lacuna that would be very obvious and would hurt us as we were trying to get buy-in from our colleagues and our administrations for continuing with RDA and transitioning to the official toolkit. We needed to address it. And so the RDA board and the RSC decided to create this joint working group. It's at present the only working group that has a relatively closed membership. It wasn't open to experts from outside. All the initial members were from the board and the RSC. We have a pretty heavily European group. The largest single area represented is Europe. Hopefully, Christian will stay on, even though he's rotating off the board because he started. In Hebrew, we say that the person who starts the work, you tell him, finish it yourself. We started out with one set of terms of reference with our tasks to investigate what was going on with AI and cataloging and where it was going, what people thought about it, and what the implications could be for RDA. We also started to ask questions that have been going around the community about the ethics, environmental impact, and particularly questions about copyright. Because if we want to train a computer to use RDA, how much of RDA do you need to make accessible? Whereas the humans have to pay to get into RDA. In that initial terms of reference, we had a few deliverables. One was a white paper answering the questions that were in the terms of reference, regular progress reports, both to the RSC and to the board, and a survey of attitudes regarding AI and cataloging. There we got mainly answers from outside North America because the Program for Cooperative Cataloging had run their own survey just before. So when we created the report to the board and to the RSC, we incorporated the numbers from the North American community from the PCC report with our own survey so that we had a good view of what was happening worldwide. The white paper is available on the RSC website, and in it, we did talk about all of the questions that had been raised and where this could go, and especially with which groups we would need to collaborate to be able to create something that would help computers be more RDA compliant and friendly. So I'm not going to read all of this because the presentations will be made available, and I want to leave as much time for our discussion. One of the main takeaways was we don't know how these models know what they know about RDA. If you ask any of the AI bots, they will say, we ingested cataloging records. That's not very helpful because just because it'll spit back a record that looks RDA compliant, if you don't know how it knows what it knows, you don't know that the next record will be correct. And if we're looking for something that we can scale up, you have to know that it'll be consistent. You also don't want it making up stuff. And we don't know how it knows what to make up and what not to make up All about the only thing we do know about it is it really hates to say, I have no clue. And RDA has provisions for when you have no clue, which AI does not like. One of the other points that we addressed in the white paper was catalogers' concerns that AI would take away their jobs. From experience of different libraries and from the fact that even the people who've developed cataloging tools in AI say that they can't really control it, I don't think we're in trouble yet from that. Catalogers aren't it's not the most stable career maybe, but AI isn't coming for us right away. We probably have a little time for that. And certain libraries like Library of Congress have already made commitments that staff will not be reduced if they bring in computational description and production. They don't even call it AI in the Library of Congress. The recommendations that we made in the white paper were that we would create a minimal set of guidelines that could be taught to AI bots so that we knew at least a certain amount of RDA knowledge, an amount that would not break copyright but would be helpful in cataloging, could be taught. It's becoming increasingly clear that we can't really teach the machine, and probably in the short term at least, the way to go is creating prompts that you tell it, here's a resource, catalog it, and do this, and do that, and do that, and give it a long set of prompts that it will lay over whatever it already knows, that black box. We also emphasize to the cataloging community that the need for creating and maintaining well-structured metadata is more crucial than ever because these bots are trolling around the public-facing catalog, and that's where they're learning what they know. So the better information we can feed it, the better the chances are that it'll spit back good information from here on out. One of the biggest problems with it telling us that it ingested all of Library of Congress's catalog is not all of Library of Congress's catalog is in RDA. So, and someone implements the new tool, the official toolkit, and its AI bot is running off of ALA 1908 and ALA 1949, the Red Book and the Green Book, and AACR and AACR2 and AACR2R2 and original RDA. God knows what you're going to get. But if we can give it more information that meets what we want, we have a higher chance of getting back what we want. And the final thing is, if we want a say in what it's going to do, we need to be at the table. We need to collaborate with the people who are building these bots and the people who are training these bots so that we can help say what it gets trained on. Creating that white paper and the reports that we had made to the board and to the RSC fulfilled the first term of reference within a few months of the working group having been established. So we needed to create a second set of terms of reference, which was approved in April of last month with new tasks. Some things the board told us we did not need to concern ourselves with, that it was out of scope for our group, which were the ethics of using AI, the copyright issues. That's a board thing. It's not saying that the working group needed to be concerned about, and the environmental impact. Those things were beyond what we have been asked to do, and we should just focus on the RDA side of things, which is what we decided to do. And of all of these tasks, like I said, it basically breaks down to our sets of deliverables, which are a way of teaching these models the minimal set of RDA rules that we wanted to know. Like I said, it looks like prompts are going to be the way to go for that. Trying to create some sort of bot that could help people navigate through the toolkit. Again, this will have to get approval afterwards of the board because of copyright issues. And as usual, our progress reports to the RSC and to the RDA board before their meetings. So what we've done so far, we've written our white paper, we've finished our first terms of reference. We spoke informally with the Library of Congress computational description team. It was informal because at this point, Library of Congress has decided not to go forward with using AI in production. It's only in their experimental section. So there's a limit to how much more information they can give us. And we met with the team behind the bot Cat Milk, which is based on ChatGPT. It's an implementation to help Sri Lankan catalogers, both from academic libraries and for public libraries, create RDA-compliant Mark 21 records. And we spoke to the developers about how they trained the program, what they knew that the model knew. And that's when one of the main points at which we realized that the people who are building these bots have no way of knowing how the model knows what it knows. They can't control it. They're just laying more prompts on top of it. And that looks like the way that we'll have to go. Our next steps are speaking to more tool developers, speaking to vendors. After this meeting, I have to go and create a doodle poll for the working group to meet with Ex Libris. Lily Day has agreed to talk to us, but she's got the same thing that has been going around everyone in Israel, and her voice is worse than mine. So she said to wait until June. Today, Hannes agreed to speak to us, the man who's literally written the book. Look out for it in ALA editions. And then we can start working with the technical team on creating that minimal set that we can, of prompts that we can teach computers so that they can create better RDA metadata to come back to us. If you have any questions, if you have suggestions of people we should talk to, if you have experience in working with AI that you would like to bring to the working group, please let me know, and I will schedule a time for the working group to meet over Zoom with you. And I'm very thankful to Jenny and to the rest of the executive committee for organizing the group discussions today, which we'll be taking back to the working group as well. Thanks.